Many of these
Right.
compounds inhibit other enzymes besides the ones that you're after. With minoxidil, if that goes systemic, yeah, you can have inflammation, autoimmune issues, and this inhibition of several steps of the sex hormone cascade. Now, that doesn't really matter if you take steroids. If you're an HRT plus, you take your testosterone, your DHEA, and your pregnenolone, right? You got all of those bases covered. But
Yeah.
if you take high dosages of minoxidil or ketoconazole without hormone replacement, this is where the post-finasteride syndrome issues get worse.
Say someone was on androgens and had a pretty bulletproof protocol, but also knew how to adjust the protocol accordingly when they were inhibiting DHT to a degree, that'd be a
Mhm.
lot better in regards to not getting PFS than what most guys go on PFS as, which are natties. They're natties. So
Yeah.
they're not versed in any of this shit at all. They can't manipulate it. And so they get the broken dick syndrome and everything goes to shit. And then you got to play catch up. I found, I don't quite know where mine went, but my SHBG normally shits around 20,
Yeah,
no
that's
matter
good.
what protocol. I'm able to fluctuate a couple of points, 5 to 10 points or something, but nothing significant. I found that I didn't run any labs on SHBG, but it must have been pretty low that it didn't affect me negatively. However, I was only on Proviron for 30 days. And so, like, on the topic of hair loss, that's why I had to get off of it. Like, I on TRT for years now, I've never really experienced. There have been a couple periods where I had some shedding and I was like, all right, let's see if this regulates, which it did. But on cream, so I was running a couple pumps of cream, few pumps of cream a day, kind of a high dose per milliliter cream, and Proviron 25 milligrams a day. And dude, I mean, I fucking nuked my hairline a bit. I'm trying to get it back. I'm doing
Uh,
some shit to get it back, and it's working. But yeah, I mean, it fucking it will nuke your shit, dude.
yeah,
But it
and
can.
it can for sure, and I'm not sure if that's from the increased free testosterone or free DHT because
Yeah,
SHBG is so low that everything is free basically,
yeah,
or the actual DHT like signaling from the Proviron.
I
I'm
think
not
that.
entirely sure.
Right.
It's probably that because Proviron doesn't really shut you down, so you could even take Proviron as a quote unquote not enhanced person that doesn't take
Yeah,
exogenous testosterone, whether that's
yeah,
injectable cream or pellets or whatever,
right.
nasal sprays, right? Natesto.
Yeah,
So you take HCG and then it just brings your SHBG levels down. And even those guys experience hair loss because free testosterone, free DHT, and the Proviron is
right.
so high.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, I noticed that for fucking sure, which is making me a bit apprehensive to go. I mean, I've got Primaball and Enethate, sitting there waiting for me, and I fucking really want to run it, but I just feel like I've got to give it a little time. In the meantime, I've been running a 1.5 millimeter derma roller
Yeah.
every third day or so, just on the areas where I'm seeing trouble, to the point of actually drawing blood, because that's really where you're going to get the most therapeutic effect or the most
Mhm.
effective response in stimulating the growth factors and triggering hair growth. And so far it's like staving off additional problems, and I'm seeing my hair become thicker again,
Yeah.
which has been very useful. But so in the meantime, I'm kind of just apprehensive to jump on anything DHT related,
Are you
but we'll
doing
see.
any are you doing any topical GHK copper with your derma rolling?
No, I did not know that that's a thing. So can you explain
Yes.
that?
Yeah, okay, so, you have palmitate GHQ, palmitate GHK that permeates into the through the skin, into the
Okay.
cells,
Yeah.
but it's not as good for collagen synthesis and hair growth as a
Right.
GHK copper, but the molecule's bigger, so it doesn't really permeate.
Okay.
The problem with GHK copper is that even though it's very, very good for collagen synthesis and hair growth, it causes a little bit thickening of the skin,
Yeah.
and it burns
Okay.
quite bad. But if
All
you're
right.
so you would apply it topically here, and then
Yeah.
you derma roll it in. Right? You create all these little micro abrasions,
Yeah.
and this allows the GHK copper to go inside, and
Yep.
then help with hair growth.
Right.
And you could do the same with minoxidil. You could do the
Yeah.
same with ketoconazole.
Right.
But it might be better to derma roll for a while, do the GHK copper, and then later on you start your ketoconazole and topical dutasteride protocol
Right.
to kind of block the androgen receptors and prevent any 5-alpha reduction, and then continue with the hair growth that
Now,
way.
what is your take, therefore, like regarding that stuff on minoxidil specifically going systemic? Because the last thing that
Yeah.
I think, from what I've seen in PFS consults, and certainly that I want to do, and that people want to do, the last thing people want to do is go and fuck that whole system by inhibiting DHT systemically.
Yeah.
To what degree? Because I haven't really studied minoxidil specifically. I know a lot about finasteride, dutasteride, and all of the rodent studies and all of the human studies. To what degree is minoxidil systemically inhibiting DHT?
I don't think minoxidil does, but ketoconazole does,
Okay.
because that inhibits several steps in the sex hormone cascade. So I made a video about this, about steroidogenesis inhibitors. It's the real reason why you feel like shitty on medications, basically.
Yeah.
You see that ketoconazole inhibits like 4 steps, and
Wow.
minoxidil inhibits 2 steps. Aromacin doesn't inhibit any steps, but arimidex inhibits the synthesis or the metabolism of cholesterol. This is one of the reasons why total cholesterol and LDL are so much higher
Really? I
on
did not know
arimidex.
that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's
Wow.
27 cholesterol. I'm not even entirely sure what it's called, but it's one of the enzymes that metabolizes cholesterol. So you're
Oh,
basically preventing the breakdown of cholesterol
wow.
into something else.
Interesting.
And that's why total cholesterol and LDL levels are generally higher. And
Right.
aromacin doesn't do that. And of course, they inhibit the conversion of testosterone into estradiol, but that's what you're after. Many of these
Right.
compounds inhibit other enzymes besides the ones that you're after.
Yes.
And then, so with minoxidil, if that goes systemic, yeah, you can have inflammation, autoimmune issues, and this inhibition of several steps of the sex hormone cascade. Now, that doesn't really matter if you take steroids, right?
Right.
If you're an HRT plus, you take your testosterone and your DHEA and your pregnenolone, right? You got all of those bases covered. But
Yeah.
if you take high dosages of minoxidil or ketoconazole without hormone replacement,
Right.
this is where the post-finasteride syndrome issues get worse. So
Yeah.
they take,
Yeah.
finasteride and ketoconazole and minoxidil all at the same time. Like they want to get their hair growth right back, and then it goes systemic, and their dick doesn't work.
Right.
It's
Yeah. I mean,
terrible.
that's the biggest thing. And I have a guys with neurological issues that we've got to really
Yeah.
approach from the GABA perspective and the dopamine perspective too, coming from finasteride. But you're right that say someone was on androgens and had a pretty bulletproof protocol, but also knew how to adjust the protocol accordingly when they were inhibiting DHT to a degree, that'd be a
Mhm.
lot better in regards to not getting PFS than what most guys go on PFS as, which are natties. They're natties. So
Yeah.
they're not versed in any of this shit at all. They can't manipulate it. And so they get the broken dick syndrome and everything goes to shit. And then you got to play catch up.
Yeah. True. True. And in many cases, HCG will fix them, or you go with sublingual DHT powder, which you can source online. You
Yeah,
take
that I
5 milligrams.
we got
You
to
did
talk
that?
about sources there because I did not. Okay, I remember you talking about that. I think maybe on the last podcast, me being on your podcast, but we've got to talk about that because I would love to get my hands on that. I think it would be useful for a couple people I've got in mind that would